The cabin in the pines. I should have listened to my gut the moment I saw the place. It was tucked deep into the woods, about 3 hours north of anything resembling civilization. A friend of mine, Danny, had passed it down to me for the weekend, said it was a great place to unplug. No reception, no distractions, just peace and quiet, he had said with a stupid grin. When I arrived, the sun was already dipping behind the trees. The pine forest surrounding the cabin was thick, silent, and strangely watchful. You know that feeling when you're being looked at? I felt it the second I stepped out of the car. The cabin itself was old, wooden with a moss-covered roof and shutters that hung loosely off rusted hinges. The front door creaked so loud I winced when I pushed it open. Inside, it smelled like damp wood, dust, and something else, faintly metallic. The kind of smell you can't quite place, but it unsettles you. There was no power, just an old fireplace and a few oil lamps. I set one of them on the table and lit it, casting long shadows against the warped wooden walls. That night, the forest was unnervingly quiet. No wind, no birds, no bugs. Nothing. At around 2 a.m., I woke up suddenly. The fire had gone out and the room was freezing. Then I heard it. Tap, 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 coming from the back window. I froze. The tapping continued, slow, deliberate. I pulled the blanket off and tiptoed toward the window, the floorboards creaking under each step. When I reached it, I took a deep breath and drew the curtain aside. Nothing, just trees. But as I turned to go back to bed, I heard a soft thump from the front porch. Then footsteps, slow, heavy, across the creaking boards. Someone, or something, was out there. I grabbed the fireplace poker and stood completely still, waiting for the sound again. Silence. And then, a whisper. From the other side of the front door, it said my name. Not shouted, not called, whispered. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then came the knock. 3 times, hard, like fists slamming against the wood. I lost it. I bolted into the bedroom and locked the door. I pushed the dresser in front of it and sat on the floor, poker in hand, heart pounding so loud it was all I could hear. Hours passed. I must have fallen asleep because I woke up to morning light streaming through the window. Cautiously, I crept out. The front door was wide open, but the porch was empty. No footprints, no sign of anything. I packed my stuff in under 5 minutes and got the hell out of there. As I backed out of the driveway, I glanced into the rearview mirror, and I swear to God, there was someone standing at the tree line. Not moving, just watching. I haven't been back since. Danny said I must have had a nightmare. Said I let the isolation get to me. But here's the thing. He called me last week. Said the new renters of the cabin left in the middle of the night. They didn't say a word. Just left the door wide open. Whispers in the walls. I should have never gone up there alone. The cabin belonged to my uncle. After he died, nobody in the family wanted to deal with it. Too many memories, they said. So I offered to spend the weekend there to clean up, maybe make a list of what to sell or fix. It sat in the middle of nowhere, deep in the forest, where the trees grew too close together and the wind carried sounds that didn't quite belong. The kind of place where even the silence feels alive. I got there Friday afternoon. The road was just a dirt trail at that point, barely wide enough for my car. As I pulled up, I saw the cabin's outline through the trees. It looked abandoned, slouched slightly to one side, like it had been trying to escape the woods swallowing it whole. Inside, it smelled like rot and mildew. Cobwebs hung from every corner. The floor creaked like it was in pain. I dropped my bag by the door and started walking through the rooms. The kitchen still had plates in the sink. His bedroom was untouched. Bed made, dresser drawers still full. It was like he'd stepped out for groceries and just never came back. That first night, I tried to sleep in the bedroom, but the moment I turned out the light, I felt it. That presence. Not like someone was in the room, but like something was beneath it, or inside the walls. I told myself I was being paranoid. Old house, old noises. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to a sound, whispering. At first, I thought it was wind slipping through the cracks, but the whisper was steady, repeating something. I held my breath to hear better. It was saying my name, software croaking, over and over again. I jumped out of bed and turned on the light. The room was empty, but the sound stopped the moment I moved. The next day, I searched the walls. I don't know what I was looking for. Wires, a speaker, anything. But I found nothing. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something in the cabin knew I was there. That it was watching, waiting. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room with the fire going, just staring at the walls. And that's when I saw it. A bulge. On the far wall near the floorboards. It pulsed slightly like something breathing behind the wood. I got up, walked over, and pressed my ear to it. Scratch, scratch. Something was inside. Then suddenly, it stopped. The wall went completely still. I backed away, heart pounding. Then every light in the cabin went out. The fire snuffed itself in a gust of wind from nowhere. I was plunged into blackness. And then the whispering started again. Closer this time, louder, all around me. I fumbled for my phone. Dead. No service, no flashlight. I stood frozen, surrounded by voices that knew my name, that laughed at me, that called to me. And then I heard a sound I will never forget. Knocking. From inside the walls, from every wall, something was in there, scraping, crawling, trying to get out. I ran. I didn't grab my bag. I didn't care. I tore out of that cabin through the trees, not stopping until I saw my car. I didn't even look back. I drove until the forest was gone, until I could see power lines and people and gas stations. That was 6 months ago. Last week, the cabin burned down. No one knows how it started. But here's the thing that keeps me up now. When the fire crew found what was left, they said the walls weren't just full of mold or old wiring. They found bones inside, human bones, and some of them were scratched from the inside. Don't stay after dark. I was never one for ghost stories, but after what happened last fall, I stopped calling them stories. It started with a getaway, a long solo weekend to disconnect. I found this cabin online, cheap, secluded, surrounded by forest. The kind of place where the air smells like pine and time feels like it slows down. The owner didn't ask many questions, just gave me the code and said, "Don't stay past sunset on the last night. Just don't." I thought he was joking. The cabin looked decent enough when I arrived, a little crooked, sitting on a slope with an old stone chimney and a porch that creaked under your weight. Inside was rustic but cozy. No TV, no Wi-Fi, barely any phone signal. Perfect, I thought. The first 2 nights were peaceful. I read, chopped wood, listened to the wind in the trees. But it wasn't quiet. The forest always had sound, birds, insects, distant cracking branches. It was alive. But on the 3rd day, everything stopped. No birds, no wind, just silence. By mid-afternoon, the sky began to darken unnaturally early. I figured it was a storm rolling in. I threw a few extra logs on the fire, made some tea, and settled in with a book. That's when I noticed something strange. The walls were humming, very faint, like something vibrating deep in the structure. I pressed my ear against the wood and could swear I heard whispers. Faint, distant, but definitely voices. I backed away, unsettled, and then my phone lit up. No call, no text, just one notification. from a number I didn't recognize. "You're still here?" I stared at it. No bars, no signal. How did it even come through? Then the lights flickered, and I heard a noise from the porch. Footsteps, slow, heavy, like someone dragging their feet. I crept to the window and peeked through the curtain. Nothing. But the footsteps continued, moving around the cabin, one slow drag at a time. Then came the knock, not on the door, on the wall, from inside. I turned around and saw the wall behind me, bulging, like something was pushing from within. I stumbled back as a low groan came from inside the wood, followed by a faint whisper. "Get out!" I grabbed my keys, didn't even pack. I bolted for the car, the forest dead silent around me. But as I started the engine, I glanced in the rearview mirror. There was a man standing on the porch. Or what looked like a man. Tall, distorted. His head tilted too far, his arms hung too long, and his face, God, I'll never forget that face, was like wet paper peeled across bone. No eyes, just holes. I floored it. I didn't stop until I hit cell service 2 towns over. I called the owner the next day. He didn't answer, but he texted back just one word. "Told you." I checked the listing a week later. It was gone. No record, no photos, nothing. And some nights when everything gets quiet, unnaturally quiet, I swear I can hear those whispers again, in the walls, calling me back.